Hi and welcome to my channel, Teresa's Crafty Cabana. I'm going to be doing some freestyle jelly printing today. I'm just pulling out some supplies, a few of my textures, some stencils from PM Artist Studio, a few other paper stencils, and some buttons that I was using in a recent project. I ended up putting the buttons on a piece of cardboard and gluing some together to give them some height. For my colors, I'm using the December color combo from Facebook Makers of Mixed Media Art and Artist page, and I'll link that in my description below. It's coral pink, sailor blue, and silver gray. You can also use a white, a black, and a metallic. I'm starting out with my black on the plate, and I wanted to have a little bit of a grungy start to this print, so I'm just going to put a little black on kind of like two of the corners. And I'll use my 2-inch brayer. This is my 5 by 7 inch gel plate. And this smaller brayer just gives me more time to work that paint into a smaller area and it won't spread out as quickly. So I like to focus on intense color on the corner, and then as it goes out to the edges or to the center, I like to have the paint kind of blend out. So the first thing I do is just make sure I have a good amount of paint on the corners, and then once I'm happy with that amount, then I'll go into the edges and into the center and kind of pull some of that paint in. And then once the paint starts to dry, you can go over it with your brayer again and it will start to remove any excess paint. So that's kind of the process that I'm doing here. My goal is to have the center light. It can have a little bit of black, but mostly lighter in color, and then the darker parts will be the edges. Since that's a good amount of paint still left on the plate and it is still wet, I can come in with some of my stencils. I'm going to use these scattered numbers. These are designed by Carrie the Crafter and sold at PM Artist Studio. I'll link these below. And I'm just using my brayer to remove some of the paint from the inside of the numbers. If you're new to my channel, I want to welcome you, and don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe button. I started gel printing almost 2 years ago, and when I first got my gel plate, it was a 5 by 7 plate. I didn't know what to do with it, and at the time I couldn't find as many different ways to use the gel plate. I felt like a lot of the videos were the same way to use it, and I have a bit of a different creative style because I like to make cards with mine. I also like to make projects, paper projects, 3D or flat, and I like making journal pages and kind of creative little books. So, and the tags were really fun for me as well. So that's kind of what I use my gel printing for. I also will make occasional gift packaging with the gel prints. My favorite way that I've started using them is to make envelopes. And so I definitely think my style is a little bit different since I've started. I think what I was drawn to that was the most unique in the beginning was using alcohol inks on my gel plate. And then I had a lot of my craft paints that I hadn't been using for a while, so I had a purpose for those. And then over time I've built my supply, and I've got some higher end paints that I really enjoy using. But of course I don't want to use them all the time because I want to savor them for the projects I really want to use them for. So over time, I've also built up my collection of just stencils, stamps, impressions, like bubble wrap. And for any of you that are gel printers, you know that those end up taking up a lot of room. So I sometimes have to purge, and then I miss that thing when I want to use it. So sometimes I'll bring out my supplies and just make myself use them, because otherwise I'll just have to probably purge it and throw it away. But I do enjoy having a variety of textures in my gel prints, layers and textures, and then pulling that. I love having the designs in my gel plate before I pull my print up. So these layers are kind of like my favorite way to do my gel prints, letting each layer dry in between, and then using different textures and stencils to reveal the plate in each layer, and that way the colors behind it keep showing through. With these opaque paints, I find it really easy to layer them, and the colors are pretty true to what I started with. I had recently started learning the transparent paints. That's the higher quality golden fluid acrylics, and I do find that both of them, they work a little bit different, but I do enjoy the effects of both of them. So in this case, I didn't have those colors in my higher end paints, the coral color, the navy color, and the silver. Well, I guess it was a gray. So I used my craft paints for this, and I could have tried to make my paints, but I do feel like I waste a lot of paint when I try mixing paint colors to try to get the right color. So I don't like to do that with my more expensive paints. I'd rather, if it was the colors that I actually have, then I would use them. So this is a way for me to kind of play and explore and see how different textures go together, which ones I like. And my favorite with the color combos is trying to figure out what color I like that I put down first. I tend to like the darker colors on the plate first, and then the lighter colors at the back of it and pulling the print. So that's kind of what I'm doing here, is each print I'm putting the colors down in a little bit of a different order, so at the end I can kind of see how they look and which one I prefer. And that helps me too as I'm making my other jelly prints, so I know exactly how I would like to put my prints, my colors down when I have an intentional print that I'm making. I'd like to hear from you. What are your favorite ways to gel print? Is it a certain type of paint, a high quality, a low quality? Is it a certain texture that you've been enjoying lately? Also, would you like to see something for me to either experiment with or try out that you're not sure about trying, or if it's a new item you're not sure about purchasing? Let me know your thoughts, and I'd love to incorporate that into a next video. My metallic that I'm using is this Pearl Violet. I was gifted this from my friend Kim at Seeds of Kindness, and I love this purple. It's such a pretty, kind of subtle purple metallic. And this is my favorite part, the reveal. So here's how all the colors look together. I've got my blue, the blacks in the front, and then you can see the blues through it, and the pink, and the gray, and a little bit of that purple shine coming through in the back. I do love this print, and I want to see how much different it will look when I layer up the colors differently. So this time I'm actually going with a darker blue color. It's called Midnight Navy, and I have that as my base color. I'm bringing in some stencils to kind of remove a little bit of that paint. I have a little sponge here that makes a really neat texture. Letting that dry, and then I'm coming in with gray for my next layer. And this time I'm just covering the entire plate with each color. I do mix up my pink each time. My coral didn't quite seem to match the one in the picture, so I had a pink and an orangish coral that I had been mixing, in each print I end up adding less pink because I feel like orange is more of a coral color than a pink. So you'll notice at the end my coral color does change a little bit. I changed up my metallic in this one, and I'm using silver. And I'm going to use that silver to pull this print. So this one turned out much different looking. I don't have any black in this one, and no, I don't have any white. For my third print and my final print, I'm going to mix the black and my navy blue, my regular navy blue, to see if I can get a deeper toned navy from this color blue. I'm using my buttons to create some impressions, and then a few more of my stencils. I love these keyhole orifices. This is by Becky Bocorn. She has her designed stencils from PM Artist Studio as well. I have some individual buttons that have some neat shapes on them that I'm using. And I'm just rolling my cardboard from my Starbucks sleeve to give it a little bit more of an interest. I am doing the gray on the second layer again on this one. I'm just not covering the entire background with the gray. Next, I'll add my silver. And the same thing here, I'm just using the silver to cover most of the background, but not all of it. And I am using my stencils for the silver as well. And then I'll pull the entire print with my pink. And of course, this one does take on a lot more pink tone than the other two have. So it just shows that how you layer up the colors come out with totally different results. I think the pink in the first one was the closest pink to the color combo. It seemed to line up the best. Definitely think that one turned out to be my favorite. Plus, I really like how the numbers have the black in the foreground. This one's probably my second favorite. I really like those dots. They turned out really neat looking, and by layering up the different stencils, it just kind of gave it a lot of dimension and texture there. The third one was probably my least favorite, only because I actually really liked the grays and the blues being dominant in the print. And also, I wasn't too fond of this color of the pink. It was a little too orange and corally versus pink coral. So I think that one was my least favorite, but I still enjoyed the process. I can still use this in a project, so it's not a waste, and I will definitely be using these other two as more of a card base, I believe. So let me know which one was your favorite, and how do you like to layer up your colors? Is it by darker to lighter, lighter to darker? Do you care? Is there a better way that you found that you enjoy kind of creating your prints? I'd love to hear from you, and I will catch you in the next video. In the meantime, happy crafting, y'all.